Hey everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Tony Glasgow, and I am your host for this show. And today we're going to be talking with Dontonio Jordon. He's a local trainer in the area. He's been on the show before. If you've caught his show before, and if you didn't, after this show, go check it out. He has some really good information, and he'll have some good information today as well. So let's go ahead and bring him on. Here we go. How you doing, Dontonio?
Doing well, man.
All right. Yeah, how was your day?
Doing, man. I just had a nice, relaxing day. It's kind of my day off.
Oh, okay.
School's kind of gotten back. I'm trying to get my schedule together and all that stuff. So,
yeah.
Nice, relaxing day today.
Okay. All right. So, why don't you start about just telling everybody? I know if they've watched it, they saw it before. Just kind of tell everybody your history, your high school, your college days, and kind of leading up to where you are right now.
Yeah, man. So, I went to. I was born, like I was saying, I was born in Little Rock. Moved here, but I always say I'm from Texas, from Dallas, or Denton, whatever you want to say. Moved here when we were, when I was 3 or 4 years old. I remember getting our first house when I was 4, over in Lake Dallas. So I've kind of been in this area the whole entire time. But went to Richardson, to a magnet school, for my first few years, just to go to school about where my parents went to work at.
Okay. I didn't know.
Kind of experience another demographic,
right.
And just different type of people, different everything. So I think it was very important. I kind of get into that later, to be exposed to all different types of people from everywhere, all different ways of life, different countries, different religions, different everything, which I got a lot more when I went to Stanford too. But kind of going back to that, so ended up going to school in Richardson until 6th grade. And then 7th grade, started going to Lake Dallas. Went to middle school, middle school, all the way on to high school at Lake Dallas. Played football, basketball, ran track. Throughout middle school and high school, I was also doing select track, and we would do select basketball here and there, but it wasn't as serious for me. That was kind of something I wanted to kind of step back on a little bit, basketball. But lettered in all those things, lettered 3 years. In all those 4 years in track, ended up earning a scholarship to Stanford University. Academics was a big thing for my parents.
Just let me interject that Stanford, getting offered to Stanford, that is a high honor, man. That is something. I know that's
my second one. And
really?
I honestly didn't even know what I got at the time. My parents were like, Stanford? It was my second offer. I remember walking into the room, and I'm like, just got off from just like casually, because I got Duke first and I got Stanford next. And I said Stanford, and they were like, whoa. You said Stanford? I'm like, yeah, Stanford. I'm like, just like, whatever. And I just keep going about my day. But they would always tell people, my mom especially would always tell people like, you didn't know it yet, but that's where he's going to go. It's a 40-year decision for sure.
Okay. So did you just kind of just nonchalantly say it because you just were used to it, or you just didn't know the level of Stanford?
So that is one thing, a big reason why I do what I do now, because at the time I just wasn't exposed to, I guess, colleges on the West Coast, or really a lot of colleges in the East Coast, et cetera, et cetera. It's grown a lot now, 10 years, marketing and just, I would watch football, but it would be NFL, you know what I'm saying? So I never really knew much about college like that. I would watch here and there, USC, Reggie Bush, but I didn't know,
the history and the prestige and all that.
I had no clue. So when I got it, it was just like, it's just another school named Stanford. It wasn't Texas. It wasn't TCU. It wasn't Oklahoma. It wasn't, USC, the biggest school names, back in the day. And Stanford was on the cusp of being, one of in one of their most decorated segments of their history, for sure.
What was it like when you finally got to Stanford? Was it a different world for you, a culture shock, or how did it work?
Yeah, definitely definitely a culture shock, I would say, but just in the fact that it was college in general, and I guess you've been to college, so you know what I'm talking about. And a lot of guys that I tell now, it's like when you get there, it's going to be a shift as far as like priorities, et cetera, et cetera. And I have very, very great parents. They made sure I never needed anything or anything like that. So it was it's a great thing, but it's a kind of a tough transition when you have such great parents, you have such great support system, and then you go thousands of miles away, you don't necessarily have that anymore. So that was something that was a shift for me. just being able to learn how to handle things myself, both mentally, emotionally, physically, errands, like I was saying, writing a check, anything, things like that. That definitely, took a little bit of experience in learning how to do and whatnot.
You're right. Mm-hmm. So what was it like? You got settled in and everything in your first week or two, whatever. What was it like when you started hitting the field? 'Cause I want a lot of these guys to know, I want all these guys to know the intensity that comes with that level of college play. So what would you say from high school? How was that transition?
The speed of the game. Like when you first get out there, like you think varsity is a different speed. I remember the one play where I was like in high school, where I was like, oh man, this is varsity football. I thought that was fast. This is like warp speed, especially when you don't know, when you're not necessarily as technical. You haven't been training for the position for 10 years like some guys have been at that level. So you're already behind at that end too. And then playbook wise, some of these playbooks, man, are crazy. Yeah. So just being able to, first of all, playbook. I'll go back to that again, because then you'll be able to play free. I was always kind of, I was slow in the playbook when I first got there, because the playbook that I had in high school was just,
6 plays.
Yeah, cookie cutter, whatever it was. I'm not, insulting the high school, level of.
Well, that's just how it is.
That's just how it is. You want it easier because it's easier to learn in high school.
Right.
The younger you are, you want it easier. When you get there, and we're at Stanford, they assume that you know how to regurgitate information and comprehend information.
Yeah.
So we would be calling 4 plays in one. Like, literally, they would call whatever play, kill to another play, alert to another play, and then whatever to another play. And then we have to remember all those plays, see the defense, the quarterback gives us whatever, kill to that play that he said in that long sentence. We have to remember that. So, it was a lot of thinking. I was thinking too much. I was doubting myself and stuff like that mentally. So then obviously I'm tiptoeing physically. Yeah. So that was a big thing. The intensity, it gets to you, but I think mentally is really where it gets to you the most. Just the fact there's so much information at certain levels of the game, and then it kind of slows you down from being who you are.
Okay. So how much time did you have to prepare before you were really just thrown in the fire?
You get straight in? No time. You have no time to prepare. I mean, so I guess if we're saying prepare before you really get into pads, we had like a 6-week, introductory. It's not an introductory period. We're literally coming in during the summer conditioning.
Yeah.
So as soon as we go, we move in. Next day we get physicals or whatever, and then next day you're right there with the whole team. So you're really thrust into the team immediately. Yeah. We had a little bit of I think we had like a week where we did lifts by ourselves, but we did the runs all with the, the older guys and the seniors and everybody as soon as you get there. So you hit the ground running immediately.
Really?
And that's why it helps to, really kind of develop all of these tendencies and habits before you get there. I think it really helps a lot.
Yeah. Would you say it's still like that they're pretty much going to, I know I've heard some trainers and some advisors say that you need to be college ready. So you feel like it's still that way, that, they need to be ready to go.
For sure. Yeah, especially, it was less so then because transfers weren't as, when I played, because transfers weren't that prominent. But now, 100%. Like, if you're not ready to play, if they don't deem you as somebody that's ready to play, or if you don't have freakish measurables like 10-3, 100 or 6'5", or or something like that. If you don't have that, it's going to be tough for you. You know what I'm saying? Just because the transfers that they're allowed to get now, and not having to sit out, and it's just you're fighting against coming ready. They've been in the college program. At least they're going to be physically ready for the most part. You don't have to worry about them being too skinny or anything like that. Yeah. It's a big thing that comes with it too.
Okay. So while you were there, you got into this the last time, and I just want to talk a little bit more. Some of the players that you played with, some are still playing, some went on, some are, superstars at this time. Just kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. The older I get, the more, decorated players that I realized I got to play with. And we realized it then. Yeah. But of course, when you're living in the moment, you're not really thinking, oh, what was it going to be like 10 years later? Because I'm about 10 years out now. But yeah, got to play with, Christian McCaffery, great name. Yeah. Montgomery was a great one as well. Didn't get to play with Andrew Luck. Came the year after him, but I got to throw with him a few times. That was cool.
Okay.
Came in right after Richard Sherman as well. But who else? Bobby Okereke. He's the middle linebacker for the
Giants, right?
The Giants, New York Giants.
Unless he got traded.
He's still there right now. He's got an extension, I believe. Justin Reed over there at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah, he plays for the Chiefs. Yeah. I'm really forgetting a lot. Trent Irwin, he plays for the Bengals. He's been there for a while now too. Mm-hmm. He was a young guy when I got there. Who else am I forgetting? Bryce Young, he was Bryce Young. Not Bryce Young. Why am I blanking on? Bryce Love, sorry. Bryce Love. Yeah. He was a Heisman runner-up a few years back, ended up having an injury. But he was a great player. Blake Martinez was in my class. He's not playing anymore, I don't believe. I think he's a free agent. But yeah it's just I could keep naming.
Star-studded staff right there, man.
We got a lot of guys.
You know what's so I think I told you about this. It was right after our first show. We were talking about the games y'all played and how y'all went on, after season or whatever. That next day there was a show on, I forget what channel it was. It was called Christian McCaffery versus whoever it was. I don't know whoever it was playing. I think it was Iowa. Yeah. It was just, him dominating, just running on everybody. And it was just funny that we talked about that. So
he's a monster. Him, Solomon Thomas, Harrison Phillips. I'm forgetting a lot of guys that are still playing right now.
Oh, I know you are. Yeah.
So those guys, man, ridiculously, not just, and I like to always touch on with those guys, I met some of the best people of my life. Teammate-wise, best people of my life at Stanford. Still have great relationships today. Some of the greatest men, ever. Harrison Phillips and Christian and Sally are some of the best guys. They're doing so much for the community. Really? Even in the NFL, they're always up for Men of the Year awards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So these were good people, smart guys. Also, they'll rip your head off when it comes on the field too.
Right.
But these are really good dudes, man, that really care. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I definitely really want to make sure guys know. A lot of the media focus on the negative, but I think it's really important that we focus on the positive aspects of off the field things like that.
Yeah, because like you're saying, some of these guys, they're going to go on and you're going to have those relationships, even if y'all don't talk all the time. You still have those relationships. You still have that brotherhood of what you guys did. All right, so playing out there in the Pac-12, you get to go to some awesome bowl games. So why don't you go ahead and run down what you've done? I know you've done it in the show before. I keep saying that, but just run it down again because it's impressive.
Man, we got the experiences out there, man, crazy. But got to go to 3 Rose Bowls, and 1 Foster Farms Bowl.
Okay.
But yeah, those you don't realize. We kind of got numb to it.
Really.
You don't realize how rare those occasions are. Yeah. You don't really, in the moment, again, all these experiences that I experienced, it really is a 40-year decision because some of these experiences you wouldn't have been able to experience anywhere else. Not many people can say that they went to 3 Rose Bowls in 4 years, no matter what type of contributor they were or whatever. Not many people on a staff, not many people, period, can say that. And it was, man, I get chills just thinking about it.
Yeah.
From the first, I can remember a lot of different plays I can remember a lot of different, things off the field, from the hotels we were staying in. Even to this day, I was just in LA Live not too long ago. I'm like, man, this is where we were staying during the Rose Bowl. It's just the parade. It's just, my mom, that's her favorite thing to do. To even talk about memory-wise while I was in college is, man, the Rose Bowls. She got to go to 2 of them. Yeah. And they were just amazing to her, what I'm saying? So it's really cool.
Well, it's a prestigious bowl because it's
Granddaddy.
The parade. Yeah, that's what it was.
Granddaddy of them all.
Granddaddy of them all. Yeah, that's a big deal. Even when I was a little kid, would be on TV watching that, and that Rose Bowl would come on, and I'm just like, man, this is awesome. And to step in that stadium, I know that probably was just blowing your mind.
Man, crazy. It's crazy. You can't even. It really makes you speechless. A lot of guys. We talk about it a lot, or we don't talk. We talk about it, but when we do talk about it, we realize how crazy that time really was. We were really a historic time period and class in Stanford football history. Just to be able to experience that, nobody it's not a lot of people that will be able to say they have done that.
Yeah.
And again, like it got to a point where we were like numb of Disneyland. We would go to Disneyland and Lowry's, the prime rib every time we went. So, and it was like a running joke that like, man, all right, like here we go again, going back to Disneyland, even though it was the coolest, thing. I think we played in the 100th. We played in the 100th Rose Bowl, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And we played in like the 99th and something like that. But I think we got to play in the 100th, and just it being, a century's worth of Rose Bowls, and just the history behind it, getting to meet old players that played in it and stuff like that, man, it's insane.